Hi, everyone, and welcome. I'm Tami from Nutmeg Notebook. We're so happy to have you here on this Tuesday for our Plant Living Made Easy. If you want to participate and ask us questions, we would love that. Please put that question in the chat. Preface it with 2 or 3 question marks and with 2 or 3 question marks. That will just help those questions pop out at us because we don't want to miss it. This is an interactive show and we want you to participate. Today, we are going to be talking about weight loss tips, and we have quite a few of those for you. And we are joined with my dear friend, Sia Hurst from 60 Living, all the way from Greece. Hi,
Hello,
Sia.
good morning, everybody. How you guys doing today? I hope everyone's well.
And we know it's evening for you, so good evening to you.
Thank you very much. Yes, it is.
You're welcome. So these have been really fun. This is our third Tuesday that we've been doing the Plant Living Made Easy. So if you missed the first two, you can go back and watch the replays here on YouTube. So we have building support and finding community. And also we did a what we eat in a day, because I know that that question is going to come up today as well. But people can go back and watch last week's video to see what we eat in a day. And today it's all about weight loss. And you and I know a few things about this.
We do know a few things about weight loss. Yes. We know how difficult it is. We know how painful it is. We know how difficult it is to live with extra weight and what that can do to you in so many ways, even emotionally. And we know what it is to be free of that and to be able to have released it and never welcomed it back. So yeah, we know a little bit.
Yeah, and that's why we're also really happy to be able to share about this as well with everyone, because once you've experienced it, it's remarkable. And I should have said that we are whole food plant based. And so that's what we will be discussing today. The wonderful thing about adopting a whole food plant based lifestyle, and I know that you'll agree with this, Sia, is that not only is it the way we eat great for losing weight and being able to maintain our weight, which we'll talk about that too, because to me, after being a yo-yo dieter for 40 years, I just wanted to be able to maintain a weight loss for once in my life. But this is also the way to eat, whether you have type 2 diabetes, hypertension, heart disease, autoimmune disease.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's almost as if it's what we were born to eat. I don't know. It's really weird. It's like it's almost as if we eat these plants, somehow naturally our bodies know what to do with them. I don't know. It's a mystery. But whatever the mystery is, it looks like plants are what heals us. It heals a variety of pathologies. And you go plant-based to lose weight, you're going to get some side effects. Your blood pressure is going to improve, your blood glucose is going to go down, your motility is going to increase in your GI tract, your bacteria is going to grow, your colon will probably be cleansed for the first time in who knows how long. So many things. And your liver will be just doing little happy dances, and we hug our liver because we love our liver. So yeah. So kind of a one size fits. Really weird.
Hey, if anybody watching, if you want to put in the chat where you're watching from, that's always interesting for Tom and Sia and I, because we love to see where you're at. And, gosh, if you're in Greece, Sia would love to know that you're in Greece as well. So should we start off by showing some of our before and after pictures, Sia, so people know that we walk the talk?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. Do you want to go first or do you want me to go first? How do you feel about it?
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter to me. If you've got your pictures ready to go, Tom's typing something. So
no, they're here.
Why don't you go ahead?
Okay, go ahead.
Excellent.
Okay, so there on the screen, I am at my highest weight, and I was wearing about a size 16 there. And I do tell a story that the largest thing I bought was a size 18, and it was for a dress for Tom's company Christmas party. And when I took it to the cleaners to be cleaned, I didn't want the cleaners to know that I wore a size 18, and I cut the tag out of it. Now, I'm sure they can tell that it was a size 18. But anyway, so for, like 40 years, I was always yo-yo dieting. I was losing weight. I could maintain it for a short amount of time, and then I would gain it back. And it was so frustrating because I would think, I'm I'm an intelligent person. Why can't I conquer this? What is wrong with me? And I really thought that something was wrong with my brain until I found the whole food plant-based lifestyle and found the book, The Pleasure Trap. That book, The Pleasure Trap, was the one where I went, oh, I'm not broken. The food system is broken. I'm eating the wrong foods. And that's why I haven't had success. I mean, I did have the opportunity to tell Dr. Doug Lisle, one of the authors of the book, him and Dr. Goldhammer, I had the opportunity to say, your book is when I realized there wasn't anything wrong with me. Yeah. Because I really thought something was wrong with me. Because I used to, when I would go to bed at night, I would be thinking about my body size, my weight, and how tomorrow was going to go. And then in the morning, I would get up and I would think about it. I'm going to be great today. I'm going to have a good eating day. I'm going to conquer this weight thing. And so it was just constantly in my brain thinking about it. And it was so frustrating.
Yeah.
Oh, you can show the Pleasure Trap book. Tom's going to show the Pleasure Trap book just for those of you who don't know about it. Oh, the ad's showing, but not the book. Can we get the book?
We have to be on this other screen. I'm so sorry.
Thank you.
There we go.
Somebody, where's my Pleasure Trap book? Yeah, so if you guys haven't read that, that is a book that Sia and I highly recommend reading. You can also, you can Google it and you can find some YouTube videos where they do discuss the Pleasure Trap online as well.
I'll put the link in the show notes.
It explains to you, how the highly processed foods hijack your brain and what happens, and then, it will, for me, it gave me comfort to read that book.
Indeed, because in the book, what we learn is that it's our brain is geared toward a triad: pleasure seeking, efficiency, and reproduction. That's all. So when we can seek things that bring pleasure, food, nutrition, and it can be efficient, that's what our body will go for. In the beginning, it took a little more work to get the stuff into the body. The efficiency part of the triad has become the predominant part of the triad. And so it is much too easy to pick up something that will bring immediate pleasure, because sugar, oil, and salt are drugs and they are addictive. And so you've got two of the triads, and it's fast, it's efficient.
Yep.
But it doesn't give us the nutrients. So then we crave more and more and more. And that's the trap, the pleasure trap. And we're not broken. We're built this way. But when we address the pleasure trap with real pleasure, real efficiency, we then become really fulfilled and healthy. Yeah. It impacted me a lot as well, Tami, that book, for sure.
Yeah. It was very eye-opening. No one had ever explained that to me. I had not encountered that information any other place. So
right. Dr. Lisle has a great TED talk on the pleasure trap that is really, really eye-opening and wonderful. I don't know if you've noticed, but we've got some people checking in Los Angeles County. We got Northern Indiana, Cleveland, Ohio, Connecticut, Minnesota. Nobody's from Greece but me. Gloria Levy. Oh, I'm so glad she's here. That's so nice. And congratulations on being down 7 pounds. Well done. Well done. There is a little bit of static on the auditory from time to time. I don't know what that is. Just a little bit of static comes through.
Can you hear it?
Yeah, it's not right now, but I heard it earlier as well, and some people are making some comments on it. It's not too bad, but if I hear it again, Tami, I'll probably just touch my ear like this.
Okay.
Carol, a la Carol Burnett. I won't tug my ear. I'll just tap it. For those of you who know that reference, bless you for being here and being plant-based and whole food and interested, and at an age when you can remember what the ear tug means, because that's a generational thing for sure.
Boy, isn't it though?
Yeah, for sure.
I love Carol. Well, let's see your pictures.
Okay, so I have to share this screen, and now I gotta come over here. We're getting it, guys. Give me just a sec. I share, and then I have to click window. I did practice this, and there it is.
There we go.
So yeah, that's me feeling really, really great on a summer day, enjoying a meal outside with my husband on our front patio, and obviously thought, yeah, I look good enough to wear a shirt like that. This is me enjoying, as you can see, a couple of pints of Guinness there on the bar. That was a real favorite for me. But you see, I'm still happy. Somehow I'm happy. It might have something to do with the Guinness. Of course, there's me, and there are my arms. What lovely arms. I would love to bring your attention to the tankard in my hand. Again, that is filled with Aperol, Prosecco, and soda and orange juice. So yes, alcohol played an enormous role in my health reality at that time. Now, however, things are different.
Yep.
Things are just a little bit different in my world. And it's the
What a
food.
wonderful transformation.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I did lose over 100 pounds in the end and have maintained that loss, which I think is so important. How do we maintain it? How do we maintain it? And a lot of our topics today, for those of you who got the goodies package, or for those of you who read the blog post, we're talking about calorie density. We're going to talk about that 50-50 plate from John McDougall, starchy vegetables, don't be afraid, sequencing, intermittent fasting, and autophagy. Please don't be fooled by the hype of the headlines. And I'll share something about that later. And enjoying meals earlier in the day. So, it's like some basic stuff. Right, Tami? It's some basic stuff. It's sticking to the basics, sticking to routine. And I start hearing the same thing over and over in my head. Consistency. You maintain by being consistent. That's how you maintain. Consistent with everything. Consistent with your sleep. Consistent with your meditation. Consistent with your food. Consistent with your eating window, whatever that is, that you eat in a certain amount of time each day. Consistency brings the body homeostasis, which is where it wants to live and where it's happiest. And that's how you maintain weight loss. Consistency. But consistency in what, right? Consistency in exercise, consistency in nutrition, in proper intermittent fasting practice, consistency in hydration, and in nutrient-dense foods, not calorie-dense, nutrient-dense foods.
Yeah, what we want to emphasize too, you guys, is that you don't have to be perfect. So we don't want you to fall into the trap of all or nothing thinking. And so, this isn't about every day that you have to be perfect. But what we want to strive for is improvement and consistency and doing well, because it isn't what we do occasionally that's going to have the biggest impact on our weight or our health. It's what we can do consistently that will have the biggest impact. So I know for me, Sia, that when I learned about calorie density, whoa, that was a really big change for me, because I had never had calorie density explained to me. I didn't know about it. Once I learned about it, then that really helped me in being able to make the proper food choices in order to be able to lose almost 50 pounds and to be able to keep it off. So when we're talking about calorie density, if you've not heard of it before, it refers to the number of calories that are present in a given weight or volume of food. Now, most of the calorie density charts that you'll find online seem to be per pound, calories per pound. And I've got a chart that we can show you as well. So the foods with the, go ahead.
No, it's cool because there are a lot of really good images and charts of like showing you the differences in calorie density in food. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that's fine. And the foods with the high calorie density provide a large number of calories in a small volume or weight, while foods with a low calorie density provide fewer calories for the same volume or weight. So, for example, foods that are high in fat or sugar are going to have a high calorie density, like nuts, oils, candy, processed breads, where foods that are high in water and fiber tend to have low calorie density. Those are going to be our fruits, our vegetables, our whole grains, our legumes, beans, and lentils, and then so here's a 1 calorie density chart. If you want one, you can just Google it, and you can find one online that you can print. And one thing that I learned from Dr. Doug Lyle and Dr. Goldhammer was that if we keep our food choices to that 600 calorie and below categories on the calorie density chart, that allows us to be able to release the excess weight that we're having. And then if we focus on those foods when we are on maintenance, then that will also help us. Now, that doesn't mean that the category of nuts and seeds are not healthy, because they are, but we need to eat those when we're trying to lose weight in a smaller amount. And that's a mistake, I think, Sia, that I see a lot of people make when they first adopt a whole food plant-based lifestyle, because they think, oh my goodness, I can have nuts and I can have nut butters and I can have avocado, and and so if you're eating the bulk of those foods as your daily intake, then you're going to be consuming a lot of calories. So let's show the stomach chart, Tom, just to show people the because this one I think is really good to see. Is it there? There it is. Make it bigger. Okay, so here is this is representation of your stomach, which holds about a quart of food. So if you are eating, let's say that's 400 calories of oil, but it also could be 400 calories of nuts, and they're very calorically dense. And oil is very calorically dense, but you can see that it takes up very little space. And then there's 400 calories of chicken, also calorically dense, so it doesn't take up a lot of space in our stomach. But then here's 400 calories of vegetables, which are full of fiber and water. And so you get a large quantity, and we have little stretch receptors in our stomach. If those stretch receptors don't get engaged when we're eating, then it doesn't tell the brain that we're full. So you can see by choosing lower calorie density foods, we can get full, engage those stretch receptors, but keep our calories lower, which is so helpful.
Brilliant.
So once I learned that, I was like, oh my gosh. So the thing is, if you're a volume eater, and I'm a volume eater, are you a volume eater, Sia?
Yes.
Yes, she says. So for
Yeah.
us volume eaters, where we don't want to sit down to a skimpy meal, we want to have a nice volume of food, then whole food plant-based is amazing for that, because we can do that. We don't have to leave the table feeling dissatisfied, still hungry, and feeling like we're not full. Because if we make the basis of our meals around those low calorie density foods, we can add some of the higher calorie density, a little bit of the higher calorie density foods in there. But if the bulk of it is the low calorie density foods, then we can be happy and full and satisfied. And the amazing thing about those low calorie density foods is they are nutrient dense.
There it is. There it
right?
is. There it is. Yeah.
What do
Somebody
you want
asked in the chat, was like, what does calorie density mean? And I think you answered it and answered that question and explained it very, very well. And the diagrams are there, but nutrient density, that's where it's at. That's it. When we're trying to lose weight, definitely we want to be aware of calorie density. When we're trying to maintain optimal health, we want to be aware of nutrient density. It's kind of the same thing. It's just a different focus in the mind. And that shift of focus focuses it from I'm trying to lose weight to I am maintaining a healthy life. And that is an enormous shift. So nutrient density means that there are actual nutrients in the food. Most importantly, fiber. That's one of the nutrients in the nutrient dense foods that we want to make sure are there. So when we compare calorie density, like the picture of the chicken that you showed, they know that how full your stomach is. You're going to have more space, so you're going to be hungrier, so you're going to fill it in with more food and more food and more food. And those stretch receptors will continue to grow and then want more and more and more. However, there are no nutrients, or there are very few nutrients in that option. I'm talking about that chicken thing now, okay? So that's very nutrient low, which means your body isn't getting what it needs. And it's going to ask you for it. And it's going to feel like hunger, because it is. Our bodies are hungry not only for calories, for energy. Our bodies are actually hungry for nutrients to help survive, thrive, heal, enter those stages where we can rebuild, we can get into autophagy, we can have stem cells released. We are hydrating, we're helping everything move. So nutrient density is how we maintain. Calorie density, and I'm just talking perspectives because it's the same grid, it's the same picture. Calorie density is how we lose the weight, but then we need to shift our mindset to this is a lifestyle, and I do it for the nutrients, not for the lack of calories. Ironically, if you begin the journey nutrient dense focused, you're actually going to lose weight because, well, it's kind of a side effect. So, yeah.
I know, which is just, it's just so perfect. It's just so easy. I mean, it's what we're doing really is we're going back and eating the way that our ancestors ate, because, I remember before my mother-in-law passed, she was like, honey, we were organic before it was cool to be organic. She was like,
before it was a thing.
right. She was like, we were growing our own vegetables. We, didn't eat meat very often because we just didn't have it available. We were making everything from scratch, I mean, she was like, we just didn't have, she grew up in the era where there weren't processed foods, her mother made everything from scratch. They ate from the garden.
Right.
They
So
had
again, it goes back to that efficiency,
right.
for them, to be able to have a good, tasty, nutritious meal, more work went into it. So as more processed foods became available, people had more time on their hands, which hasn't proven that great of a thing, because I mean, I don't know that we've all done such great things with time on our hands, free time and stuff in general.
Right.
But that said, now dinner is in a box or in a, in a crock pot, or it's coming out of a can or wherever it is, and it has a list of ingredients. Pretty much if your food has a list of ingredients that's more than like one or two, don't eat it. It's got too much other stuff in it. It's not whole. You know what I mean? It's not whole. So we need to go back to what an apple a day keeps the doctor away. Turns out it's actually true. We learn about that in How Not to Age this week in our book club. In fact, we talked about it a couple hours ago. That apple in its whole form contains amazing nutrient powers for our body. But when we extract the pectin, or we extract the things and we remove the fiber, suddenly we're processing it, and we cannot process it the same way. It doesn't have the same impact on us nutritionally. And so we continue to be hungry because we're not satisfying our nutrient needs on a daily basis.
Yep. Makes sense, doesn't it?
Let's talk about. Hi, Annette.
I see. Hi, Annette.
Yeah, hi, Tami. Hi, Annette. Hi.
Okay. So, well, there's some different ways that people can approach this. So, if they're just starting out and they want to lose weight, or they've been eating plant-based for a while and they've gotten stuck, they've hit a plateau or what have you. One of the principles that Tom and I began back in 2013 that we learned from Dr. Furman, from his Eat to Live. And, I've learned good things from all these wonderful doctors along the way, was to make one meal a day a big, beautiful salad. And not just have the greens. The greens are optimal. We want to have a variety of them in our salad, just a wide variety of dark leafy greens and all different kinds of vegetables and sprouts and microgreens, lots of that. But we also need to have carbohydrates, complex carbohydrates, starch in those salads as well. So we've been doing that. 2013. I actually started in March of 2013. So this month is the 11-year anniversary of being plant-based. And it went in trouble with the sound again, Tom. And it's making noises. I don't know if it's my mic or it might be. Okay, Tom's going to listen. But that has been a beautiful habit. I think success in this lifestyle is from creating healthy habits that become autopilot, so that you don't have to think about them. You just automatically do certain things every day. And so, I'm, as I said, a volume eater. So I really love having that big salad and then adding fruits, and it's all low calorie density foods that I'm adding to it, and it's nutrient packed. And I look forward to eating it every single day. And that's just an easy way for me to be able to get in a lot of nutrients, keep it low calorie density, but have it be filling and satisfying as well. But there's other things that you can do too. Did you want to talk about the 50-50 plate from McDougall and tell people what that is?
No, I'd like to follow up on your salad thing, if you don't mind.
Okay, please.
The salad thing, I think it's really, really important that I share this with everyone. I hate salads. Hate them. Always have. Always have. Oh my gosh. Never, ever a fan of salads. Ever. And then I heard a little phrase, a bed of greens. A bed of greens. And I thought, oh, well, that's not a salad. That's a bed of greens. So using the Holland bowl, I chop up a whole bunch of greens and I put them in a bowl. And then I don't just put other veggies on top. I pour in lentil stew, chili. I pour in my hot Indian Madras curries. And then I just mix up the greens. I'm not eating a salad. Yay. I'm not eating a salad, but I'm eating a salad. So every meal that I have, if it's a meal, like a hot meal, is on a bed of greens. And that's helped me to get my greens in, being a non-lover of salads. So I think also I've just redefined what salad is. Salad is, it's just a meal. You know what I mean? Like every meal should have leafy greens in it, every single meal. So for me, it's just a meal and it has these cups of leafy greens in it. And that's how I got around the mind games that we all play with verbiage. And I don't like this, but I don't like that. Well, hang on a second. Redefine it. Call it something else. So I don't like salads. So I just redefined what that was. And now I eat them all the time, which is great.
I love that, Sia. And people, you can take kale, spinach, collards, whatever. You can chop them up fine, and you can add them to your soup or your stew. Put it in the bottom of the bowl, and then add that to the top of it. And it does really change when you chop them up as well. It changes. It makes those tougher things, those tougher greens. It makes them more tender and easier to chew.
Yeah, and also keep in mind that when we chop the greens, when we, like in a Holland bowl with one of those, the beautiful Mezzaluna knife, and we chop those greens, we are breaking the cellular wall of the plant. And when the cellular wall of the plant is broken, its glucose is released. So it makes, and it's digest because it's alive, greens are alive. Its digestive enzymes are also released. So it makes digestion easier. It makes it easier for our body to release amylase and protease and lipase to be able to digest all the food ingredients in that. So not only are we condensing the greens so we can eat more of them, but we're activating them, if you will, to serve us better. It's like cruciferous or alliums, chop and stop, so that they oxidate. And, it's that kind of idea. So when you're chopping those greens, you're already beginning the digestive process. And you're right. How easy is it to chop 6 cups of greens in a big Holland bowl, warm up a big bowl of lentils, and just when it's done and you've turned it off and it's just nice and warm, throw those greens on top. They'll wilt in 2 minutes. And then you just mix it in. Et voila. It's a new salad. A new salad day is born.
I love it. I love it. Well, and it is so there's lots of easy ways around it. And I know people say that if they live in colder climates in the wintertime, they don't want to eat a big salad. But one thing that I do too is I make a lentil stew. I heat that up, or I make a chili. I heat that up. And then I pour that hot chili or stew or soup over salad. And then, problem solved. I still get my salad, but I get to have something hot with it.
Right.
So it works really well. So Karen says, I'll have to try that. I'm doing a new eating plan while doing the Reignite with John McMahon.
Awesome. Well done, Karen. Hey, Karen Gaylor, nice to see you. All right. Excellent. So that was exciting when I recognize people, because, I'm little 6D. So when I see people, I'm like, hey, I know that person. That's really exciting to me. So yeah, Karen, that's great. And I hope that Reignite plan works. Please let me know. Get in touch and let me know how you're doing with that. I'd love to hear all about it. And something you mentioned earlier, Tami, I think that perhaps maybe we could circle back to just to kind of repeat it. Lather, rinse, repeat. Lather, rinse, repeat. Let's learn it. Consistency. Little things. Like you said, little things every day, like the salad, right? So it's not about today, I'm gonna go to bed tonight, and tomorrow I'm gonna eat everything that I'm supposed to eat perfectly. No. How about tomorrow you wake up and you say, for the next 7 days, I'm going to have 2 tablespoons of ground flax each day. That's it. That's it. Just start there. And then the next week, add something else. And then the next week, add something else. Don't ever take away. Add. Don't deny. Claim. Claim it. Want it. Take it. And then you can release the other stuff, because eventually, here's a little secret. When you keep adding and adding and adding, suddenly there's no room for the other stuff anymore. So just add slowly. Take it easy on yourself. Be kind to yourself. Be patient with yourself. And know that you'll get there step by step, one thing at a time. Like you and Tom say, one meal at a time, one bite at a time. But be consistent. So when you adopt a new habit, keep it. And then add a new one. Yeah. Add. Add
Yeah,
and release.
absolutely. If whatever we focus on grows. So if you're going to focus on the things that you're giving up, then those things get bigger and bigger. Oh, I'm getting feedback. That's weird.
I didn't hear any feedback on that one. I'm
No,
sorry.
okay. I'm just getting feedback on my end, I guess. But those things, then that will grow, and that's what you'll concentrate on.
Indeed.
But if you focus on everything that you're getting instead, the health benefits, how delicious the food you're eating tastes, then that grows in your mind instead. Because, I can't say that I'm missing how I used to eat. I love the way we eat now. So if you don't love the way you eat yet, you need to keep trying different things until you love the way you eat. And for that flax, Sia, I learned from you to sprinkle that in my salad. And I don't even know that it's in there.
Yeah, it's easy.
It's so easy.
You can get those 4 tablespoons of ground flax a day that Dr. Greger recommends. It's those 4 that go after the tumors. Let's not forget that. It's a powerful little seed. Grind it up. And you don't have time, you forgot one. Guess what? You can take a spoonful, put it on your tongue, and have a drink of water. You just had flax.
I hate that. No.
Oh, I know. But if you forget, you can always do it.
I know. That's why I put it in my salad. I put it in my salad because then I don't have to choke it down, because I just put it in there. I mean, that my salad is it's like the medicine cabinet,
Whatever, and that's it. It's the medicine.
Yeah.
The food is the medicine. That's it. The food is the medicine. So take it slowly, be patient, step by step, add things in, ask questions, and dig beyond the hype. And please, if weight loss is something you're really focused on and maintaining, please begin practicing intermittent fasting on a daily basis. I am now going to post something in the chat room, which is a link to a blog post that I had to publish after last week's show. One of our members in the chat room mentioned a new study that had come out that she had seen on the headlines. I hadn't seen those headlines, so I was very curious about it. And I'm so grateful that she mentioned it because I hadn't seen it. I didn't know about it. But apparently, as soon as I did a search, I realized it was everywhere. CNN, MSNBC, Sky News, BBC, it was everywhere. And it was this huge headline. 90% increase in cardiovascular disease if you practice intermittent fasting. So I started digging because if you know me, if you're in the chat, if you're watching the show and you guys know me, you know I live intermittent fasting. I believe in it. I believe in the science behind it. I believe in the impact it has on my body. I believe in it physiologically. So I had to dig into this. So I did. Please follow that link. Learn more. because the headline for the American Heart Association said it causes a 90% increase in cardiovascular disease. The rest of the article negated the headline. Medscape had a headline that said increase in cardiovascular disease. The rest of the article negated the headline. The author of the study, it wasn't a study, the author of the abstract hypothesis said that the results were dubious at best, but needed more research because it needs a proper study. There is no study that proves IF practice increases the risk of cardiovascular disease. There is no peer-reviewed published study. There is a lot of hype, and it's hard not to hear it. So please keep digging. If you want to dig a little bit, dig into that blog post. If you want to dig a little more, there's so much out there. So let's follow the science we know. Should more be done on his abstract study? Should a full study with proper strict parameters and be double blind and have food, exercise, all of that siphoned out and filtered, so we're focusing on IF alone? Does it need to be done? Yes. Does it need to be funded? Yes. Has it been done? No. There is no study that has shown this at all. Please, for your best health, keep digging, keep reading. When the article negates the headline, it behooves us to keep reading. But again, I thank the person who brought that up last week because it helped me to dig into something I never would have dug into because I had never heard of it. I didn't read the headlines, which now proves I don't watch the news. Sorry.
I'm learning more and more about you every day. Well, I appreciate that you did the research on that.
No. I didn't do the research. I did
that you Googled it. That you Googled it.
I Googled it for like 40 minutes. I did a search for 40 minutes, and that's what I found. There's more.
No, I appreciate that you did that and that you put that together for us so that we would have that information. And and it's, it's a true disgrace that the news ran with that and that some cardiologist started posting that. And I'm like, did you read the article? When you read that article, and the doctor who did that said, we need to study. This isn't conclusive.
Dr. Zhang said. Dr. Zhang, he's at the university in China at Zhangzhou, and Dr. Zhang himself said this is interesting preliminary data that deserves more research. And I agree. Everything deserves more research.
Right.
Everything deserves more research. So we got to keep digging. Paula asks, is that research trying to discourage plant-based eating or just intermittent fasting? Neither, because there's no research. It's not the research that is preventing or discouraging anything. It's the headlines and the hype. There is no research on this. There are only headlines, and it's everywhere. I received so many emails because, again, 6D is all our programs and we're eating intermittent fast. So people were asking. So I had to dig into it just a little bit, just to show, even with just a little bit of digging, you can see the truth. You can see the truth. Don't read the headline and then share all over Facebook. Keep reading. Keep reading. Reading's good. Yeah.
I mean, you just can't believe everything that you see in social media. So I love how you always encourage us to look for the facts, find the science, and that's what we need to do consistently.
Yeah, look for the facts, and if they don't agree with what you think, they're still the facts.
Right.
Science is science. You know what I mean? There are no alternative facts here. So it is what it is. But find the science, not the blog post, which is funny because I'm asking you to go read my blog post. I just realized kind of what I said, but the science is there. I promise. I posted all.
Yeah, you provided all the science and the
all the
links
citations there. I'm sorry.
and everything to back up what you were talking about. And so I appreciate that very much so. Okay, so so that was good information to share. So you guys, for the weight loss,
Yes.
one thing that you can do, and we were alluding to this, is that you can add more non-starchy vegetables to every meal. And when you do that, the non-starchy vegetables, they are full of fiber, they are full of water. And so they are low calorie density. They will help fill up your stomach. There is something called sequencing using calorie density. And this was like magic for me when I learned about this, the sequencing. And what that is, well, let's talk about True North Health Center. If you go to True North Health Center in, in Santa Rosa, California, in their cafeteria, the food is laid out in order of calorie density. And so you start with like the non-starchy vegetables and the salad ingredients. And as you walk around that cafeteria room, then the higher calorie density foods are at the end. And so you start filling up your plate. And we won't call it a salad, we'll call it a bed of lettuce for you.
You
A
can
bed
call
of
it. I'm okay. I've redefined the word for myself. I am psychologically well. Thank you.
okay. And so if you make your plate at least 50% non-starchy vegetables, that's what Dr. McDougall has, what he calls a 50-50 plate, where you don't have to measure, you don't have to weigh, you can just eyeball it. You know, if you are a longtime dieter, you're used to being told exactly what to eat and how much to eat and how to measure it out. We don't do that when we're eating a whole food plant-based diet. People also get upset if I use the word diet. I know this is a lifestyle. Diet is also a way that we eat. It is a way of eating. In our culture, when we say diet, people immediately think of a restrictive diet. And when I'm saying a plant-based diet, I am not talking about a weight loss diet. I'm talking about the style of eating whole food plants.
See, you've redefined the word diet, just like I did with salad. Well done.
There you go. There you go. We're two of a kind. We're two of a kind.
My little teapot.
Yeah, two of a kind. But if you make that plate about 50-50, 50% non-starchy vegetables, and then 50% can be your higher calorie density foods, which what we're talking about would be starch, carbohydrates, complex carbohydrates, your grains, your legumes. There can be some tofu in there as well. I mean, I like a little tofu or tempeh, or you can have a little bit of that. You want more of the non-starchy vegetables than those higher calorie, high calorie density foods if you're trying to lose weight. And then also when you sit down to eat, if you eat those non-starchy veggies first, they will start to fill up that stomach and engage those stretch receptors that Sia was talking about. And you will have less room for those higher calorie density foods. Now, we still need those higher calorie density foods because we need the starch for satiety. We need it for our brain so that we can keep thinking, so that we can have energy to move and to exercise. But I want to tell you how I gained 5 pounds. I had been maintaining my weight for quite some time, got an air fryer, started making French fries. After about a month, my pants were tight. I was like, what is going on here? So I was asking a friend of mine or telling her, and she's like, well, what have you changed? I said, well, we got an air fryer and I started making, oil-free air fried potatoes. And she said, well, how many are you eating? And I said, oh, I make a whole big tray. And she said, well, if you sat down and ate a potato, how many potatoes would you eat? And I said, oh, one. Well, how many potatoes are you making French fries out of? Oh, 4. And she said, well, therein lies your problem. Are you eating a salad or non-starchy vegetables first? Well, no, because we're loving these fries. And so we start eating the fries and then we don't have room for the grains or the greens. We don't have room because we've filled up on those potatoes. So we are hardwired to seek out the highest calorie density food for the least amount of effort. When I had that whopping big plate of air fried potatoes on my plate, I was eating them until they were gone. And then I didn't have room for the greens, the lower calorie density foods. And I gained 5 pounds in like 4 weeks. So then I went back to, I would just, make one potato into fries. I would eat my greens first, my non-starchy vegetables first, and I would start to get full. Then I would have my potato, and I could be satisfied with that little bit, one potato instead. So that's how not to gain 5 pounds.
That's how not to gain 5 pounds. Yeah, that's good advice. And you were right. You mentioned something really, really important about those non-starchy vegetables. They are very high in water content. And often we mistake thirst for hunger. We need a lot more water than we normally get, just generally speaking, in the world. It's just we're not drinking enough water. We're very dehydrated. And thirst can be misinterpreted. So when you're giving your body that high water density non-starchy veg, you're also satisfying your thirst mechanism. So that also is going to start lowering the actual feeling of hunger, because hunger really only comes when ghrelin is released from the stomach. And that's not released as often as we think we are hungry. So definitely having those water-dense, nutrient-dense vegetables first is always a good idea to start with a salad. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can start your meal with a salad or even a brothy soup. So you can make a brothy soup with a lot of non-starchy vegetables and start your meal with that, because that will take up a lot of space in the stomach. It's very satisfying. A lot of times people are very satisfied by having something warm to begin with, which is also, it's like comfort to have a warm cup of soup.
Yes, it is. It is very comforting. And that's why I like to use broth on a regular basis in my nutritional routine. I like warm broth. I can have it at night. It has electrolytes. It has nutrients in it. I can, sneak in some seeds if I want some more flax or whatever during the day. And it's warming and comforting. And if I have that glass of broth before my meal, I eat less, because the broth, it's not just space that the water takes up, the broth. It's not that. It's that I'm hydrated. And so my body is now looking for nutrients. And when I give my body the nutrients from the plants, suddenly everybody's happy. I'm not thirsty. I'm not hungry. Everything is working as it should, consistently, homeostatically. Maggie,
it's simple. It's actually very simple.
It is very simple. It is. It's simple, and yet it can be very, very overwhelming. And what's the most overwhelming part is that we say things like that. It's simple. It's easy. Just do it. Just eat plants. But there's so many other factors that are involved in our nutritional choices. It's not simple, you see. It's emotional. It's historical. It's hereditary. It's what we learned. It's what brings us comfort. So the data, the science, the facts, the nutrition, the calories, the weight loss, yeah, that's simple. The mindset, the mind shift, that's the movement. That's the first step. Before the flax even comes in, the first step is, I want to be healthy. That's the goal. If it's, I want to be skinny, believe me, people who are skinny can still have high body fat percentages. It's called skinny fat. But there is nothing in the world that feels better than being healthy, balanced. And if that's the goal, it's easier to reach because it's a goal of joy. It's not a goal of loss, like I need to lose, I'm not good enough. It's a goal, it's a positive goal of life-affirming joy and health and vibrancy and dynamism and activity and movement. That is worth eating an apple for. That's worth eating an apple for.
Absolutely. And I do think it's much easier to make the transition to eating healthy, whole food plants when you're focusing on health and not just weight loss.
Weight
Because
loss
weight,
is a side effect. It's a
exactly.
side effect.
And
Just like weight gain is a side effect. It's a side
yeah,
effect of our choices. It's a side effect of our choices. So, we have to look very, very honestly at ourselves, at our own choices, and be really honest with ourselves. Are we focusing on whole plants or are we focusing on vegan foods, plant-based foods? Because there's a difference. There's a big difference. A lot of saturated fat in those plant-based foods. But whole plants, maybe commit a number of days to just whole plants. Not a lot. Don't overcommit. Don't scare yourself. 10, 5 days of only whole plants. Just see how it goes. All you have to do is add plants for 5 days. You might feel better. You probably will. You might keep going. And I hope you will. I hope you will. Yeah.
I think most people are actually very surprised at the power of the food and how they feel when they start eating clean.
Yeah, it's fast. It's fast. I mean, it's within a meal. We know of studies where one single meal of animal products has, produces TMAO and inflammation, and we see all these markers. We also have studies that show that one food of plant-based products decreases inflammation, helps the liver heal, does all the other, and we know that it's there. So when you and Tom say one meal at a time, it is the truth, because every single meal holds amazing power for our next choice. Because when you feel good, you lather, rinse, repeat. You lather, rinse, repeat. So yeah, just start. Don't be perfect, but just start. There is a question, I think. Maggie from Yugoslavia, who's in Tulsa. What an interesting journey through Canada. Used to be skinny till my 40s, and you're collecting health issues. I'm so sorry to hear that, Maggie. I'm so sorry that you're collecting those issues. Feel free to reach out at any time. Contact 6D, contact me, send me an email. Let's have a chat. Let's find out what you're collecting and let's see what you can maybe release. Yeah. I think it's in the notes. All you do is send me an email. So go ahead, Maggie, send me an email. We'll set up a time and we'll have a chat. It's what we do, right, Tami? It's what we do.
Absolutely.
All right.
So we didn't talk yet about having our larger meals earlier in the day.
I know. So real quick, let's talk about that. Let's talk about why that happens. First of all, Dr. Gregory also gives us a study that has been done that shows that the same meal eaten earlier in the day versus post 6 or 7 p.m., I think it was somewhere around there, has a double caloric load and a double density on its impact on our bodies. So eating earlier physiologically is just smarter. Why? Our bodies begin to slow down throughout the day. So we want to make sure that we concentrate our caloric and nutrient intake in a nice little window of time. We begin at one time, we end at one time. Why is this important? Because our bodies will become used to the schedule and it will expect food and it will get food and it will know that all those hours in between, it doesn't have to worry. It knows it's coming because you do it all the time. You're consistent with that window. If you're not consistent with that window, everything you eat, your body's going to say, I don't know when food's coming again. This person, she's all over the place. I don't know when she's going to eat again. I'm going to hang on to some of this. I'm going to hang on to this just in case I need it later for energy or fat. So why do we want those higher calorie foods earlier in the day? So we can digest them. So we can begin digestion. Raw food, 2 to 3 hours after eating a raw meal, your digestive system, it's pretty good. It's gone through most of it. A cooked meal, 6 to 8 hours. That's why. We have our heavy meal in the middle of the day, early in the day. So we have 6 to 8 hours before bed because we have a light dinner, a nice raw, nice light dinner or a soup or something. We have those 6 to 8 hours so that when we go to bed, we're actually through the digestive process and we're going into that rest and digest stage where our bodies get to use the nutrients we've given it. It's no longer taking it all in. It's got it. Now it's going to make it go work. That's called your rest and digest. That's when we drink water. So that's why we have the calorie stuff in the early in the day. What do you think? Is there another reason, Tami?
Well, we find that we sleep better when we don't have that big meal in the evening as well. We don't have as much time to use up those calories. If you're very full, you've eaten, close to the time you go to bed, then, you're not going to sleep as restfully. Your body's busy working on digestion. So, that makes a big difference. And when you think about it, it just makes sense to eat your bigger meal in the middle of the day when you're more active. That just makes sense.
Well,
because
there it is.
Right, the food is fuel.
Yeah, that's the common sense part of it. It's like you eat all those calories and you're still moving through your day. You're walking, you're doing things, you're doing your tasks, you're working. So you're burning off those calories, right? You eat it late at night. Guess what? Sitting on the couch watching the next episode of whatever you're streaming is not going to burn as many calories as going up and down the stairs and doing the laundry.
Yeah.
During the day. So it just, like you said, it makes sense. And yet we struggle. It makes sense. It's simple. It's this, it's that. And yet we struggle. All of us struggle so very, very much. Why? Here. Here. It's that mindset. And that's what we start to transform. And that's when those health issues transform. I'm just taking over. Paula, you say when you stay away from Guinness, you do much better in terms of eating wisely. You know what? I agree with you, Paula. When I stopped having the Guinness, suddenly, I was like, hey, maybe I'll have some food instead. Although there is a lot of iron in Guinness, so let's not forget.
Oh, come on, Sia. Everybody can find justification.
You know what? If you want it, you'll find it. That's the way it is. And there it is. If you want it, you'll find it. If you want health, you'll find it. If you really, really want to be vibrant and active, find it. You're here. You're finding it. You're already finding it. Now we start doing it. So let's do it together. Let's stay connected. Let us know how you're doing on the journey. It's important. Vitamin B in the stout. Yes, Paula, vitamin B in the stout. Oh, Paula, I think you and I need to get together for a chat someday. Oh, the goodness, girls. All right.
Well, I think, part of our problem is we've been socialized to eat a certain way. We've developed long-term habits, either from our family, our spouse, our friends, whatever circle we run in. And so, we don't always stop and analyze and think about what am I eating? Why am I eating it? And how am I eating these foods? So I think awareness, being really aware of it. And then I think we have to give up a lot of our old ideas that we have had around nutrition, around losing weight. I can't tell you how many people say, well, I have the fat gene, or, my mom was overweight, my dad was overweight, my brothers are overweight, I'm destined to be overweight. You need to take all those thoughts and you need to throw them to the side, and you need to go into this with a very open mind. And, we're very adaptable people. And so we can do anything that we set our mind to for a prescribed amount of time. So I really liked, Sia, where you were talking about how, you can decide to just do it for 10 days or 5 days.
Yeah.
What you need to do, however long you decide to do it, be very consistent for that 5 or 10 days, because initially the food's not going to taste that great to you because you've got to neuroadapt. If you've been eating, XYZ junk up to this point, the food's not going to taste that great to you initially. An apple is not going to taste as good as that Haagen-Dazs ice cream that you had yesterday, and so you have to be consistent, and you have to give yourself enough time to adapt to the food, and then really pay attention to how you feel, the health benefits. How is your brain working? How are you feeling about what you are doing with your body? And just see what happens. And we know from like the programs that they have at True North Health Center, or the McDougall program, where they do a 10 or a 12-day program, people have incredible improvements in their health in less than 2 weeks, lowering their blood pressure, getting off blood pressure medicine, lowering their fasting glucose rate. If they're an insulin dependent type 2 diabetic, lowering their insulin intake that they need. I mean, it's amazing what happens to people in a very short amount of time. So, I say give it a really good try for a prescribed amount of time without going back to eating the way you had been, and see what happens. See if the scale budges. See how you feel, and then decide.
Yeah.
If you're going to continue.
Step by step. Just because you decide to do something today doesn't mean you have to do it forever. And if you decided yesterday to eat something that you today have decided you're not going to eat, well, good. It's a new day. It's not forever. You just ate it yesterday. Don't worry about it. Eat something different today. You have right now. You have right now, this choice. Sometimes you'll choose well. Sometimes you won't. Sometimes I choose well. Sometimes I don't. But I always get another chance. Hopefully.
Yep.
I
Yep.
got no
Tomorrow's
wood.
a
Knocking
new
on wood.
day.
Knocking on wood. All right. Congratulations to Kulwant. I'm sorry if I've said your name incorrectly. About controlling your diabetes and being off your medication. That is wonderful. Congratulations to you. Well done. And weighs how much to eat non-starchy cooked vegetables. I think Tammy was like, half your plate, right, Tammy?
Yeah.
Half your plate. Yeah. Wonderful. Wonderful.
And if
Yeah.
you're still hungry after you've finished your plate of food, have some more non-starchy vegetables.
There you go. Or have a big glass of water and then see if
Or
you're
a big
still
glass of water. Yep.
right.
And
Right.
because you
Definitely.
could be thirsty. You could
Yeah.
be thirsty.
And if you do have blood sugar concerns or you have glycemic index concerns or you're that way inclined in thinking, for your starchy vegetables, please remember after you've cooked them to add vinegar. Just even a little bit of vinegar, it lowers the glycemic index of all starchy vegetables. And we recently had the privilege of speaking with Dr. Greger, and we asked him what kind of vinegar, and he said any kind of vinegar. Vinegar's vinegar. It just has to be acidic. So we want the acidic to cut that starch, and that will lower the glycemic index of starchy vegetables. Because do remember, starchy vegetables are full of incredible fiber that we need that really help motility inside of our digestive tract. So we don't want to poo-poo them. You have to choose to eat well. Absolutely, Karen. Absolutely. We choose.
All right. All right. We'll see it. We're a little over an hour. And
Are we really?
I know the time goes by so fast, doesn't it? Time flies when you're having fun. If you want to learn more about calorie density and sequencing, I have a really good video on YouTube about calorie density and sequencing your meals. And I go through and show you a lot of different foods and what their caloric density is so that you can kind of learn, like it's better to eat the grapes than it is to eat the raisins and some different things like that. So I think we've shared a lot of really great information today with everyone, Sia, and
I hope it was helpful. I hope it was useful. I hope those of you who who RSVP'd and received your goodies enjoyed those links. And if you have any questions ever, don't ever hesitate to reach out by email to 60 Living. If you have any questions on any of the information or articles, I offer that not to say don't contact Tammy, but I don't offer on behalf of someone else. I offer on behalf of myself. So that's what I'm saying there. Thank you all very, very much. If you would like the goodies, don't forget to RSVP before 11:59 Pacific Standard Time PM on Sunday, because the mailer goes out Monday morning. Thank you all for being here, for the chat, for telling us where you're from, for sharing your stories, for sharing your victories, for sharing your struggles, and for letting us all know that we're in this together, all of us.
absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sia. So stay in the room, and I'll talk to you in just a second. And I do want to remind everyone that next week we will be back again next Tuesday, and we're going to be talking about food cravings, how to handle cravings. Ooh, that's going to be a really good topic. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for asking questions and being active in the chat. We really appreciate that. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. That helps our ratings here on YouTube, and subscribe and click that bell so you'll get notifications. And we also, okay, you want to put that up?
Yeah, we weren't quite ready to send.
Oh, well, I was just giving people, I didn't want to sign off right away. I wanted them to
we're just saying
click
goodbye
the bell.
to Sia for the moment.
Okay.
Bye, Sia.
Okay. Are you on screen, Tom?
No.
Okay. So I do want you to know that we have a new ebook up on our website. It is Cooking for Company, Easy Plant-Based Entertaining, where you get 10 full menus and all of the recipes. So if you were like me when I first went plant-based, I had no clue what to make for the holidays. And my first holiday after going plant-based, because we adopted this lifestyle in March, was for Easter. And I just remember being so stressed out about what I was going to cook for company that didn't eat whole food plant-based for Easter. So that is for sale on our blog. If you're interested, there will be a link in the show notes for that, and 10 full menus that will help you do easy plant-based entertaining. So we hope that you'll come back next week and join us then. And I want to say thank you so much. I'm Tami, and I help you get healthy and stay healthy, one meal at a time. Bye.